Barstools and Bandtalk. We're here on location at Ocean Cases with our good friend Darrell Chaisson.
Got it.
G'day, sir.
Hey, how's it going?
So we just had a little tour through the warehouse. Very, very cool shop out there.
Thanks, man.
The interesting, this is like Santa's workshop. People just think this stuff happens, right?
Yeah.
I walk in and I don't, I don't equate a case with what's out back.
Yeah.
How long you guys been around?
We started with 1981. We started with actually a woodworking company, and we knew that the cases were out there and nobody was doing anything with that. And a buddy of mine, he had some parts, and case parts, and he was going to build a few boxes, and never got around to it. And I went to him and said, "Hey, you want to get rid of those parts? We think we could probably put a couple cases together." So that's basically where it started. Yeah.
So what's your background then? So you were playing with Paul Lawson one time?
Yeah, I played with Paul for 4 or 5 years, and then after I got out of the band business, then I had a couple jobs, worked at welding shops, doing some fabrication work, things like that. So, and then my brother was just getting out of cabinet carpentry, and we just said, "Hey, I think we can go out and do something with carpentry or whatever." So we did everything, building furniture and cabinets and doing roofing and whatever. And we always knew, I knew that the case thing was out there, so gave it a shot and started throwing a few together.
So, it really sounds like a typical small business story in Atlantic,
absolutely.
Canada, where
Absolutely.
you don't want to work for somebody else and you have some expertise and you identify an opportunity.
Yeah.
So when you guys started, how did you get started? Was it the typical go to a loan bank and get a loan? Did you have some pocket money kicking around?
We had enough money. We had a table saw. We needed that for the carpentry stuff, and we did for the first one. We didn't even have a riveter. Screwed the first box together.
Is that right?
Yeah, we built the box, took it down to Bedford Institute of Oceanography, walked around with that, and came back and we made a sale. It was just amazing.
Oh, that's awesome. So that was your first sale?
Yeah, Bedford Institute.
Really?
And then after that, then it was really about the music business, because we knew that's where they were actually being used.
Right.
So yeah, we got in with Music Stop. Russell gave us a chance, and we were building lots of boxes for different things.
Well, Russell's another guy that's savvy business fellow and identifies opportunities.
Absolutely.
And I think it's cool that he had an opportunity to support local, and for you guys that was probably a huge thing.
It was, because it got us going, learned how to actually build a box, and that went on. That relationship went on for a couple of years. But the problem is, when you're doing that in the local market, then you got people coming to you directly. So how do you separate that out? How do you sell to a music store here, and then you get guys going, "Well, hey, come on, build me a guitar case or whatever."
Well, the other part of Russell's business that you said you were involved in too, with Dwayne Coughlin, was CRR Productions. At that point, he had 7 or 8 trucks on the go full of gear, which would have been lights and PA and freaking dimmer packs, Jesus, and all that. And there was so much gear that needed to be safe and secure, and you guys were the places to go.
Yeah.
So that must have been a little bit lucrative for you.
Yeah, all of it was. And then Peter came online within probably 6 months of us when we first started.
With Tortec.
And that just grew and grew and grew and grew.
When you said earlier, like thousands of cases.
Yeah, we would have done probably a couple thousand cases for Peter over the years.
I'm going to guess that a lot of that stuff's probably still holding up and still.
Well, that's part of the problem.
Right. You built such a good product.
Really, hey, I bought that case from you 10 years ago or 20 years ago. A lot of them are still out there.
So it's not so much residual business as good business and referrals.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, well, you always have to be finding something new.
Right.
Some new piece of gear.
Well, you talk about your original stuff is made out of probably heavier wood, 2x4 or 2x4 or whatever the plywood was. If you can get lighter material, you still get the same strength and dexterity.
Well, that's it. You always look, the lighter it is, the better, because it costs less to ship. It's easier to move around.
Right.
But the whole business changed. It's always evolving. Years ago we would be doing a soundboard. It'd take 10 guys to carry the thing. You guys know what that's what they're like, right?
Yeah.
And now you have digital boards are like this, and you can do as much or more.
Yeah. Those little tack scorpion boards there that Yeah, you're right. Probably, a guy in each handle just to get it in and out of the truck for sure.
Four
Yeah,
for
we've
sure.
done lots of that.
But Peter's stuff is going all around the world. When we did an interview with Peter, he was telling us about, I didn't even realize that he was supplying pretty much, half of the world, with lighting and stage equipment,
Yeah.
and it would probably be in cases like yours, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, absolutely, and that's kind of a cool thing too, because you always look when you see a stage set up,
Yeah, yeah.
back line or whatever it is, and you say, that's our case right there. And you're supporting, bands from all over the place, especially when you're doing it through Peter or Tortec,
Right.
whatever, that your stuff is getting out there. So yeah, it's kind of cool.
So your average cases, you were to take we were looking at a couple of cases out there, like say that one over there, I'm gonna guess is a 3 by, 36 or something like that. I'm just kind of eyeballing. What would the production time be on something like that?
A few hours.
Okay.
Can't do much in less than 2 or 3 hours.
So you could potentially bang a few cases out a day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, that same case is whatever it is, 2 by 3,
I'm
or 3
guessing.
by 5, whatever it is. What would that? No, you can customize that with or without wheels, and obviously put the foam in
Anything-
there for whatever you want.
Anything really, yeah.
What would it sell for, if you don't mind me asking?
That one probably around $300,
Wow.
$350.
So I mean, it's reasonably priced. Obviously, you know
Yeah.
your business, and you know your price point. You know what you have to make to
Well,
break
it just
even and
keeps
make some
going
money.
up.
on
I
it.
mean, it's like anything else. I mean, you look at the cost of labor and just what you need to keep the lights on and the rest of it. Now, I mean, any shop of any kind, you gotta be charging $95, $100 an hour.
Yeah.
Well, you figure if it takes a couple of hours to build a box, it's just $200 and get materials. You can't do much less than $300.
Sure. I'm actually surprised that having had no idea. I mean, that to me is super affordable for anybody that wants to buy one.
I looked at it, that'd be $2 grand. The top of my head, that's why I thought it'd be $2 grand.
Yeah.
That's the way our mind works,
And you have to be aware of it all the time. You have to be watching the market and what are the trends. But I guess one of the cool things is the import cases. They used to be just really, really, really cheap, inexpensive. And now you start seeing those prices. They're starting to come up. Now you start, okay, well I can compete with that a little bit better. But a lot of the stuff is, some of it's kind of junky, but there is some good stuff.
If that fella from Sons of Maxwell had his tailor in one of your cases, he probably would have been okay.
Yeah, that's right. you wouldn't have that song.
Well, that's it. I mean, you just don't know how things go, right? You get famous because you didn't have a case.
Yeah, that's
exactly.
You did really well because you didn't have a case.
I think it's kind of cool how you folks are evolving. Though we talked about that when we first came in, and now you're kind of branching into the scientific. And I think you said there's some stuff up north now. You're doing some things that are in Arctic.
They go all over.
Yeah.
They go all over the place. Like so, when you get involved with Bedford Institute or say Coast Guard or. There's lots of companies here in Nova Scotia that are doing things all over the world.
Right.
And if it's got to go in a proper container, I mean, this is the kind of thing that they need. And they're shipping goods everywhere. So
And you have
our stuff ends up everywhere. It's just, the market. We got our own market here for, musicians. The music thing, right now it happens to be pretty much local, but.
Right.
But musicians travel, so every musician that's traveled around the world with their stuff.
Do you get a lot like? So you're saying your model you were selling through a retailer and you were trying to do that and separate it, but you get people that probably want to come out and deal with you directly. You get a lot of people that come out here and they go like, kind of like what we did. We walked in and we said we had no idea this cost this, or what you have in the back building. Like, do you get a lot of that? Are people surprised?
Most people have no clue
Right.
what it takes to put a box together, because there's so many aspects to it.
Right.
You got a bit of metal work, and you got woodwork, and you got foam work. That's a whole thing all by itself. And then just the ability, you have to be able to just kind of guess at, design, come up with a proper design for somebody, because most people don't know what they need.
Sure.
But after 40 years of doing it, then you pretty much got it figured out.
That's wicked.
So-
Well, and you mentioned the foam work. I mean, I'm back there. It's like I had no idea there's a foam saw. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and I mean that's pretty heavy duty foam. I mean, I use foam in my drums and stuff like that. But that's the stuff that is very rigid that you need to keep stuff safe.
that's a whole other thing. I mean, there's all different densities of foam. Like we've got a project next week, and the normal stuff is like 2 pounds per cubic foot. The stuff that we have to use in this job coming up is 6 pounds. I mean, you get a block of it. It's foam, but it's weighs 6 pounds of a block of it.
But to be fair, I mean, so some people's investment, and I'll go back to the music again, this is kind of, we know best. I mean, if you're doing a whole band, especially like if you're doing a whole drum kit, I mean, some of the kick drum bikes, I mean, back in the day were $2,000 or $3,000, $4,000 for a kick drum bike, you know, and you wanted to make sure that was being protected in the best way possible.
Yeah.
And that's why I remember your cases being used all the time. And for the soundboards, and I didn't know a whole lot of folks were using for guitar cases, but they would be wicked guitar cases. I mean,
Yeah.
they really would be.
Like Matt Mays, he bought a bunch. Came in here a few years ago.
Yeah.
I think we did a half dozen for them, and violin cases. There's not a Ashton McIsaac had his violins in our cases. There's not a musical instrument I don't think that we've not done a case for.
Well, one of my first experiences, this is dating myself, but I was doing a setup for Luba, and we need her on the show. I keep bugging her, but anyway, her drummer, his entire drum kit was in your cases, and I remember going, I remember seeing them for lights. I remember seeing them, and I was like, that was brilliant. And they rolled everything off the truck right up to the stage. They packed it up, put it up there, rolled it back in the truck, and I was just like, and I actually went and looked at them, and they were all contoured for the drums.
Yeah.
Thought it was brilliant. Never, you don't think, I guess, how something so basic in shape can have so many functions.
Yeah.
You never know the application. Are they driving? Are they flying? I mean, and you're.
Well, that's it, and you have to ask those questions. I mean, it's different for different things. If you're just guy going off to a gig by himself and he's got his guitar or just an amp or whatever, I mean,
Right.
that's one thing. But if you're putting on an airplane and you're flying it all over the world, then you have to know that and adjust the hardware and the thickness of the material accordingly.
So do you mentioned, and we can talk with this in a minute, you're revamping your website, you're gonna have an e-commerce portal, which will be good. How much business had you been traditionally doing outside the region?
That's changed over the years. We actually, we used to have a couple of really big customers in the United States.
Okay.
One helicopter company and another electronics company. And the electronics company we got through a dealer that we had in the Middle East. We sold in the Middle East for quite a while.
What?
Yeah, so I went to Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Dubai, Abu Dhabi. We had agents over there, and we sold. Anyway, so a dealer that was selling some electronics, they were selling through for a company down in the United States, and that company was using similar cases. And I said, well, why aren't you? You should be selling, cases to these guys. So anyway, we got that gig. We had that for a while, and we did several thousand boxes for them.
Do you do it in the medical field at all? I mean, there'd be a lot of, obviously this time of age and during this crazy pandemic, even vials and tubes and tests and stuff like that, even smaller applications, your cases have held up 40 years, right?
Yeah.
Have you ever delved into that element at all, the medical field?
Yeah. There's almost nothing that we haven't built a box for.
That's wicked.
It's just crazy, the variety.
Right here in
the varieties.
Darrell, Nova Scotia, right? Pretty
Yeah.
much. Infield, I guess.
A funny one. So the band business, obviously that was the big thing for a number of years.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you, we built this big, ugly, stupid guitar case, and it was for multiple guitars. It was like, I think there was 8 guitars in it. And it was for Rita McNeil's band.
Okay.
Okay, so one of the guys came up with this design. So, and the guitars didn't slide in this way. They wanted them on full display. So the guitar. I think
Because they weren't carrying the gear.
yeah. No. So anyways, so there's it was kind of like a V shape. So 4 on this side and 4 on the other side. So at the time it was just Sue, my wife Sue, and I. We had the shop on Windmill Road. So the band they were rehearsing all through the night at Exhibition Park. So we were trying to get this box out, and it was just like, just this stupid monster, just crazy. So anyway, we got the thing loaded in the truck, the 2 of us. It weighs about 350 pounds.
Without any gear in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we rolled into the truck, and then, how's it look? It stood, I can't remember now, like like 6 feet tall. It was this wide and it was on wheels, and it was kind of like that. So we're looking at each other. What do you think? Are you going to make it over there? Yeah, it should be all right. So anyway, we get the thing loaded on the truck. We head over to Exhibition Park. This is about 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning. So we're taking the exit going to Exhibition Park. We go around the corner, and this case does a flip over the side of the side of the truck. So here we are, the two of us. 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm serious. It weighs like 300 pounds. Sue's 5 foot nothing, and there it is. It's laying on the exit there, and we're just praying that there's not going to be a car or a truck coming. So anyway, we got the thing dragged back up on the back of the truck, back to the shop. Have a look at it. We destroyed a couple ball corners, and one of the casters busted up on it. Get the thing repaired, back in the truck. Anyways, yeah. So when it was laying on the road. Well, how in the hell, we couldn't lift it up. I mean, it's just too heavy for the two of us to get it up there. So we took the top came off the thing, so we got the top separated, get the bottom on. Anyway, so it was kind of fun. Anyway, we ended up getting back there about 2 o'clock, and the guys there, Rita was there, and everyone was rehearsing. Oh, hey, how's it going? Oh, great, everything's good.
Was it paid for at that point?
Anyway, yeah, it was kind of fun. Yeah, so.
So you were talking with the music. So you're a musician. So you started the company probably based on that.
Yeah, yeah.
So did you find it? So you did it. That's your passion. You're doing that. Did you find it weird to do other applications, or was it just business, or how did you feel about that when you were doing it?
Well, it was out of necessity, really, because we soon realized that you couldn't make a living just doing boxes for musicians. I mean, and then when we, there's a lot of offshore work, oil business.
Yes. Yeah.
At the time as well, and so there was lots of equipment heading offshore that needed to be cased up, and we had a few contacts in that business, and we were building offshore cases. But then that all went away shortly after 83, 84, something like that.
Right.
There was a lot of money here for exploration. That money went away. The offshore companies, they moved out, and then that part of the business was gone again. And then you always come back to the music, because that was kind of always there.
Doesn't surprise me though, because I mean that's kind of what a musician does. You learn how to pivot, how to change, how to evolve, how to adapt quickly and change it up whenever you need to.
Yeah.
So I mean, good on you, brother, to keep the business for 40 years. To have a local company that started kind of probably.
Well, there's really not many. There's not really many that started when we did that are still in business, or certainly not the way that they were. I mean, a lot of businesses are around, but they've been sold and changed hands or whatever. But you have to be flexible. I mean, you have to move from one thing to the other if something's not working. I mean, we used to build the cases. We used to build for printers and big monitors and things that they just don't use anymore.
I wouldn't mind one for my iPhone. Maybe you make one for that.
Yeah,
No, we have that.
Yeah, really nice. So it sounds to me like you get your e-commerce site, so we can talk about that. You're redeveloping your website or redoing your website. So somebody that does things like that is not looking to hang a sold sign or a for sale sign on the place anytime soon. So you've obviously got it in your plans to keep going. So what you're launching the website? You said this month.
Yep, we'll be up and running in the next. By the end of the month for sure.
Okay, and what would somebody expect to see on that? Obviously, your product line, different sorts of things.
Yeah, so the standard fare of ATA cases. Since most of the stuff is custom with ATA cases or road cases, we can't have too much stuff. But cable trunks and things like that, and rack cases and whatever. So you have a good. Be good shots at them, so you'll be able to see what's available at least. But it's still the custom thing you have to be able to do. So
It'd be tough to inventory that for sure. So
yeah, you can't really.
So what you're saying though is basically from this e-commerce site, they'll be able to kind of custom make their own case, and within what kind of time frame can they expect to turn around?
Usually 2 or 3 weeks.
Oh,
You can
see.
turn boxes
That's awesome.
around. It just depends. The good thing for us, when it was going really well, I mean, the music business was always there, so we were always doing a box here, a box there when we had the bigger jobs on. And that was just nice to have. That's when, you know, the business ran really smoothly.
Well, I promise you, I think we're going to get some interest in what you folks do here, because I don't think a lot of us, and the Sean and I've been around for a long time, I don't know that we knew it was attainable. I would think a box of that for $2,000. I just wouldn't even think about it. I just get a series of plastic bags.
Yeah.
It's here, you don't think about it. But
Yeah.
I'm thinking that I'd like to have a few of these cases.
Well, there was a whole, when we started, like, there was a whole community at that time. Like, there was, you know, like Tortec and Music Stop, and then
ABI, and there's
and ABI. Yeah, we did a lot of work with ABI and Brad and all those guys. I mean, it was great. And so many bands going and traveling at the time. Like Wayne O'Connor. Every time Wayne O'Connor put together a band, he'd drag all the kids in here, and here you need a guitar case, or you need a fill case, or whatever. That was continual. I mean, that just didn't stop for a number of years. And but then all of a sudden it did.
Yeah.
Because it just, the whole business changed. So we kind of missed that. I mean, that was kind of, that was fun. I mean, you know, we got to know a lot of the musical community. So.
Yeah. Well, to be fair though, even though you have the racks of ACLs that we had to carry around before, you still have the LED lights that are just as fragile, if not more fragile. So I mean, you still need to have a nice roadworthy way of transporting it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that need hasn't changed. Maybe the sizes have changed.
That's right. That's right. Everything's downsized a lot.
Right.
You know, and the technology. I mean, we used to do a lot of cases for test instruments and things like that. Well, now people are going out with an iPad, and plugging in the side of a machine to test it. I mean, in fact, 2 of our machines are connected to the internet, and if they have to be serviced, I mean, the first thing you do is plug into a service center, and they can analyze the saw or the rotor from, you know, one saw is made in Italy. We've had the Italian company that makes the saw, you know, typing on, you can see it in Italian on the screen of the saw when the guy's trying to figure out what's going on with it or whatever. Wow. So it's just crazy.
So Darrell, what's next for you guys? What's next for Ocean Cases?
Keep going.
Right on, brother.
Keep going. Just find new opportunities. Like this 3D printing now, we've started that in the last couple months, and we found a couple little jobs with that, and we hope to grow that. But you know, as long as people need a box, we'll keep doing it.
So website is going to be, do you know yet?
Oceancase.com.
Right on.
Yeah, it'll still be that's up and running now, but it's just going to point to the new site.
Right on.
Yeah.
And you're on Facebook too. Facebook can point to the site, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're on Facebook as well.
And at some point, we're going to run a contest with you.
Yes, we're going to do that. So this being our 40th year, we figured, well, we need to do something. So you know, we thought, well, maybe we'll have an open house, maybe September.
Yeah.
Give away a few cases. We think maybe a keyboard case, something for everybody. Maybe keyboard, an amp case, guitar case, whatever. I don't think I'll do a drum kit case, but.
Well, you know what?
He's gonna hurt me.
It's been nice knowing you, Darrell.
Sorry, Sean, you know, I
wish
don't know,
I could help you,
I'm
brother, but yeah, and I mean, you know, it's funny because with this little platform, every time we do something like that, it's usually a lot of fun and people really jump on it. So, happy to get that going.
I'll let you guys know whatever we're gonna do it.
People are going to be surprised at how affordable and how attainable these products are, and because I truly am, and I know there's a lot of folks that think like me. Even for like, I have 3 or 4 different pedals I use for my bass run up. It's like, man, I wish I had something that was easy to transport with, and nice and neat, and foam bass. I could put them in. I know you guys can be able to do that now, so I'm looking forward to come out here and talk to you again in some more details and see how it would work and price out, because that'd be great. I mean, and there's a lot of folks who are just like me. They don't have huge rigs anymore, but they have stuff that there's near and dear, or they have old equipment that's more important to keep secure. I mean, if you're looking at an old tube amp or an old Fender Twin, you want to make sure you're keeping that thing intact, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's always going to be that. I mean, we have people come in with all kinds of vintage instruments and things like that. So yeah, and it's that when we have that kind of thing going on with the bigger jobs, because we've had to get into, you know, aerospace and all kinds of crazy things. But when we have an industry like the music industry, where a guy needs to come out and he's got to have that amp case or the guitar case or
You
whatever
get cymbal
it is,
case, I bet you.
it just it helps
Yeah.
a lot.
Have you ever made cymbal cases before?
Cymbal case, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cymbal cases, name an instrument, musical instrument. I mean, timpani. I mean, we did all the Stad band cases. You know, so we had, Symphony Nova Scotia timpani cases,
Wow.
xylophones, marimbas. Just crazy amount of crazy things.
Wicked.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna be in the marketplace for, I told you, a hardware case, so I'll definitely talk to you there when I need that, because right now I'm using a Reebok hockey bag. It's got wheels on it.
Got wheels though.
It wouldn't be the first time. You
Yeah,
know,
well,
some of
fits nicely in the back of the pickup truck when I'm doing a Fredericton, but
Even according, yeah, just so much applications that I see that I know is more affordable. Yeah, we're coming to see you for sure.
Yeah.
that'd be great.
Terry, we appreciate you having us out here. This is an amazing
Thanks, man.
facility. I had no idea it was here. I had no idea how they're made, but again, people are going to be blown away, and I think they're going to be super excited to see your website for sure.
Cool.
so you'll let us know when that's up and running in the next
Yeah.
few weeks, and we'll do a big launch there for sure.
That'd be great.
Yeah, we get some stuff upcoming that we'll get you in the loop on, and hopefully we can help you sell some cases.
Sounds great.
All right,
Appreciate it.
thank you.
Thank
That's
you.
the case.
We got a case.
All right.
Cool.
Barstools, Bandtalk.